Welcome, friends, to our 10th episode of Life of Leadership in Lorain County. What I want to do is I want to start the broadcast right now just to talk about my sponsors. First of all, BCT Alarms. That would be Brian Jankowski. Do you feel secure in your own home? Would you like to have videos outside? Would you like to have a smart home where you can access different security features from your cell phone? I love the fact that I can close my garage door and make sure that my doors are locked from my cell phone. If this is a service that you'd like to have, reach out to Brian and the team over at BCT Alarms. Tell them Coach Bob sent you, and he'll work out the best deal he can possibly give you. I also want to thank our sponsor, WOBL AM 1320 and 107.7 FM. That's Gold Country. And we have WDLW AM 1380 and 98.9 FM Cool Cat Oldies. Special announcement for my friends Gary and Renee Tillett. They've got a special event that they're going to be hosting. And I want to read you from the Facebook post that Gary did. He said, Sheffield Lake friends and family, March 25th, join us live at Amber Oaks Restaurant at 4798 Lake Road in Sheffield Lake. Please come out and join Cool Cat Oldies and Gold Country as we broadcast live from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Once the broadcast is over, we are going to stay and have dinner to support this great local business in our town. I tell you what, I go to Amber Oaks quite a bit. Recently, I met the owner, Amy. I also met her mom, who was the past owner of Amber Oaks. They've got a great special on Mondays with a reduced price on hamburgers. I love their hamburgers. So let's support Amber Oaks. I'm recording this yesterday. Today is Saturday. I drove by there on Friday. They had a lot of cars out there for the fish dinner. So let's go out and let's support Amber Oaks as well. And thank you to Gary and Renee for making that an opportunity for us to go out and enjoy time together. I also want to mention to you that coming up on March 4th, there's going to be a leadership conference. That leadership conference is being brought to you by Leadership Lorain County. Julie Cruz Blair, who was on this podcast, episode 3, is the executive director of that organization. It's going to be at Lorain County Community College. Registration is from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And then the program is from 9 to noon. We'd love to see you there. There's great opportunity to grow in your leadership ability. I also wanted to read to you what our vision and purpose statement here is at Life of Leadership. We are doing this for a specific reason. Let me read you what our vision statement says. The purpose of Life of Leadership is to expose the community to leadership styles and thought through podcasts, interviews, public speaking engagements, and conferences. We want to encourage individuals to create a plan for personal growth, to become the best version of themselves with the vision of growing leadership organically and raising the level of leadership in the community. So we have a specific purpose. We want to help people grow as leaders. We know that as we grow leaders, we're lifting the lid on leadership in Lorain County, and we help others grow. We know that if we grow this organically from the ground up, we're going to create an even greater community than we already have. So today, on episode 10 of Life of Leadership in Lorain County, I've got a special treat. What we're going to do is that we're going to call this the best of. So we have the best of our first 9 interviews on Life of Leadership in Lorain County. So what the first interviewee that we had was Mike Elder. Mike Elder is the head football coach at Avon High School, and we all know in the community what kind of great success he has had as the coach. Now, I asked him a specific question, and that question is, Mike, how do you define success? And I thought that his answer was brilliant. So I'm going to play that clip now so that you can see what Mike Elder's definition of success is. How do you define success?
That's a really difficult, question, but one that, for me personally, it is loving what you do and loving the people you do it with. And I know that sounds interesting, because it's not result driven, but you must love what you do. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who have jobs currently that they don't love. They love the income it gives them and the things it allows them to do maybe with their life. But you're really cooking with fire if you can get a job that you go to every single day and you love it. And in order to do that, you got to love the people you do it with. So to me, that's my version of success, is to find joy and happiness and love in what you're doing. And ironically, if you have that and you truly enjoy what you're doing and who you're doing it with, and you have a vision and you put together a plan, success is possible. If you're not all in and you're not enjoying or loving what you do, it's hard to be successful. It's not impossible, but I think it's very difficult, personally. So, the other piece of the success to me is that you are becoming the best version of yourself. And for me as a coach, we would like to win a state championship. There's no question about that. We're not going to apologize for saying that. But every year our team is going to take on a different personality and identity. And I think our coaching staff believes that success is getting them to become the best version of themselves and playing the best football by the end of the year. And some years that's good enough to win a regional championship. Some years that's good enough to get to the state finals. One year, hopefully, that'll be good enough to win the state championship. But I think we've been very successful because we've taken teams and quite honestly, we haven't underachieved. We've become the best version of ourselves, and there's growing pains along the way, but we've been able to do that.
So I really love what Coach Elder said. Defining success that is not result oriented. How true is it that we can live life and we can enjoy life and be successful if we love what we're doing and love the people that we're doing it with? Now, the next cut I have here is with Marcellus Hammonds. Marcellus Hammonds is with the leaders of today. And what I asked Marcellus was, I asked him to define failure, which is kind of a cool question to ask. But what was even better was Marcellus's response. So listen to what Marcellus goes into here. He's actually going to start talking about what success is. In order to define failure, the first thing that you need to do is you need to understand what success is. So it's a little bit different look at success than Coach Elder's was. But again, it's just his perspective, and I really could appreciate it. We're going to go back to a word that you said at the beginning of the interview. But you put it like this: I don't want to call it failure. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's talk about that word failure. Sure. All right. In the questions that I sent you, it's the last question. It says, how do you define failure?
Right. Well, before I answer that question, Bob, I do want to talk about success, because I think, they go hand in hand with each other. And when I think about success, it's pretty simple, and it's just being better than you were the day before. Being better than you were the day before, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Like, are you better than you were the day before? And I think when it comes to failure, it's simply feeling as if you can't be better. Like, when you come to that point of accepting, like, there's nothing beyond this. Like, this is all that is for me. But I challenge anyone that's listening, if you can find 1 ounce of hope to be better than you were the day before, then you didn't fail. Like, failure really is non-existent to a person who understands that that there's always a tomorrow, that there's always a lesson to be learned. So I don't want to put too much energy or focus on failure, because really what's failure to someone can be success to someone else, or a learning opportunity for someone else, right? So it's just the way that you perceive it. And us as humans, us as, emotional beings, we're always going to be hard on ourselves and think that, okay, I failed. But again, I challenge others and even myself to be gracious to each other, to ourselves and to each other, because there's so many aspects in this world that are trying to tear us down, or conflict us, or contribute to us doubting ourselves, that the last thing that we need is for us to doubt our own selves. And again, I'm saying this, but again, I've experienced it even now to this day. I'm going through some things that it's like, if you're not willing to believe in yourself, how can you expect anyone else to believe in you? So I would say that that's my definition of failure, when you simply accepted that there is nothing better or nothing more that can be achieved.
What do you say to a person that's afraid to step out because they're afraid to fail?
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I would say, what is failure? Like, you stepping out is one more step than you did when you were at the place you were at.
So you really didn't fail, right?
So you really didn't fail, right? Like, if I have 100 steps to take, and I take step 1 and I take step 2, I'm 98 steps closer than what I was before, opposed to if I just sat there and pondered on my thoughts and said, man, like, how am I going to make these first 2 steps? You really have to pace yourself and take it one step at a time in order to define success. Like, it's not, I think we live in I know we live in a very microwavable society where success or achievements look like it just happens overnight, like that instant gratitude. And it just doesn't work like that. Maybe on social media, you get a glimpse or a snapshot of what that person has achieved or the success, but there's something that has happened prior to that post, prior to that award, prior to that announcement, or that diploma, right? So understanding that there's some background work behind the scenes that have to take place, that's going to get ugly, that's going to get dark, but it's just a part of the story. It's just one chapter.
Yeah, I love it. So I love this whole concept. We live in a microwave society.
Yeah.
So there's a movie out there. I believe the name of the movie is called Founder. And it's a movie about Ray Kroc, who created McDonald's, right? So we know what a success McDonald's is. The last part of the movie, there's a quote that runs on the screen. It says, "An overnight success, 40 years in the making." So Ray Kroc's experiences took him 40 years or so to get to the point where he was able to create this chain restaurant. 99.9% of these McDonald's are successful because Ray Kroc had that vision, but it didn't happen overnight. Right. His experiences, some would see as failures until it wasn't a failure, right? So there you go. That was Marcellus Hammonds from Leaders of Today. We're so thankful that Marcellus decided to move back to Elyria, to his hometown, after he completed his education at Cleveland State University. And he decided to open up a nonprofit organization called Leaders of Today. Marcellus spends most of his time with that organization developing leaders of high school students. So training up high school students to become leaders. He's focusing on Elyria High and Lorain High right now. So Marcellus, thank you so much for giving us that awesome information. Now, coming up next, my next cut is with Sandy Maddox. Sandy Maddox started an organization. The name of that organization is IMARC Research. It is a medical research company. So what they do is they will be hired by a medical device company or some type of a medical manufacturing company, and they will perform tests. Now, Sandy in this cut is going to talk about how difficult it was to start a company. She doesn't have a background in business. She was a nurse that saw a need, and as a result of the need that she saw, she wanted to help other people. She wanted to raise up this whole idea of medical research. So she started her own company, and she talks here about becoming comfortable being uncomfortable, or making yourself comfortable about being uncomfortable. So it's a great conversation that we have. And you know as well as I do, when we talk about this uncomfortableness, we see it all the time. We're going to engage in something and we're uncomfortable to do it. I was going to start this podcast. I was uncomfortable to do it. Athletes, those that normally get to the uncomfortable part during an event, are the ones that typically win, because they're pushing themselves to the limit as much as possible. So that's what we need to do. We need to start being comfortable being uncomfortable. So just join us here with Sandy as she discusses this whole idea about being comfortable being
And I'm
uncomfortable.
telling you, the best way to grow yourself is to make yourself uncomfortable. I mean, the more uncomfortable you can make yourself, you think you can talk yourself out of anything. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I don't have the right experience. Okay, well, try it anyways, and you'll definitely come out on the other side a different person and a stronger person for having gone through it. Even if you fail, you're going to come out different if you try it. So, and that happened. I can tell you, it happened a lot. You know, I go into business, so now here I am. I hired my first person. Oh my goodness. Okay, how do I do payroll? How do I do my tax? How do I take out their taxes? Oh my goodness, how do I even do this? Do I need a handbook? Do I need timesheets? Like, what do I do? And it was literally like the logistically little things that can bog your mind down, but also the big things like, oh wow, I'm responsible now to keep this person busy. I'm responsible to sell enough of our work, you know, to recruit enough work in, keep 2 people busy now. That was such a stress for me when we had 2 people. It became like a no-brainer when we had 60. You know, it was like, oh, we got this. We have a process. But I remember how stressful it was when there were just 2 of us. You know, with one of us, with just me, I thought, okay, worst case scenario, I go back to doing a job that I loved. You know, worst case scenario. Or I would find another job that I've loved. I've been one of those people who literally from my first job working at an ice cream stand, I've loved every single job I've had, every job in college. I've loved every job I've had. So what was the risk to me? I would find another job I would love. And so for me, it was worth being uncomfortable. It was worth taking the risk. It was worth jumping. But, you know, everyone has to obviously make that decision. But I'm telling you what, make yourself uncomfortable. Even if it's in a job, maybe you don't start your own business, but maybe you apply for that manager role that you just don't think, well, I haven't been here as long as so-and-so. So, you know, I don't deserve it yet. No, apply for it. Apply for it on your second day. You know, make yourself uncomfortable if it's something that you think you want.
Yeah, I love the whole idea of making yourself uncomfortable. So I'm going to ask you a question that might make you uncomfortable. I was reading in Cranes, and one of the paragraphs in Cranes said that you spent 4 hours, I think it was, on the phone in tears trying to figure out a tax situation, right? You talk about uncomfortable. Talk about that.
Okay. That is funny. I forgot about that article, but that was the day I hired my husband to be my back office person, because it was at a time when, so probably some of the early mistakes I made were not having the right accountant, not having the right lawyer, not surrounding myself with the right people in the beginning to help a brand new business person who never took a business class in her life. So I think that they were probably very competent people, but didn't maybe know how to work with somebody who was literally coming from zero. And so I you know, anyways, had I had a better situation, I wouldn't have been myself on my phone in my kitchen. But yeah, I'm sitting there, and it was a system, like an automatic system. You're on the phone, and you're putting in all the numbers from your tax form into the phone. And every time I put them all in, and it would make you go through the entire form. And then it wouldn't tell you until the end that something in your numbers was wrong, but it wouldn't tell you what it was. And I did this over, and the deadline was midnight. Here, I've been doing it since all day, you know, and then I get to where it's like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. And I did. I ended up in tears. And that's when I'm like, I can't run the clinical part of the company and handle all this back office stuff. And that's when I realized, like, I've got limits. And that's when my husband actually joined the company and took over the whole back office for a while. So it was hard. That part was hard. Take a business class, everybody.
Well, there we go. So Sandy Maddock talking about how important it is to feel uncomfortable. So I'm happy to bring you this broadcast today. As we finalize some thoughts here. Well, here's what I'm thinking about. So first of all, we have Mike Elder defining what success is, and he does not use a specific task or accomplishment to define success. Loving what you do and people that you love to do it with. Then we have Marcellus Hammonds talking about how he looks at failure is actually success if it's done in the right way. And then we talked to Sandy Maddock, and she talks about the fact that we need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So the way that I look at this whole set of 3 videos today is it is the essence of leadership. The essence of leadership is understanding what success is, having a vision for success, having a process in place for daily growth, and understanding that we need to feel uncomfortable, because that's the only way that we're going to move forward. I love the quote, imagine the turtle who gets nowhere unless it sticks its neck out. So we need to be comfortable about feeling uncomfortable. So we're going to close out today. I want to say thanks to BCT Alarms, Brian Jankowski. Let them help you identify security solutions in your house in order for you to feel as safe as possible. And then over here, thanks so much to WOBL WDLW for the opportunity that they give me on a Monday for my radio show, and the fact that they are in my corner supporting this entire leadership of Lorain County. So until next week, I will chat with you soon.